All right, so first, everyone, I'm very happy and excited to be here today and to share this time with you. That is first a big chance for us all to connect again in these complicated times. And finally, that is for us quite a big occasion to share things, to share the latest innovation, the news from the lab. We believe that will help you make a difference in your own markets. Oh, and by the way, this is our first WEBINEWS, international WEBINEWS, I'd say. So feel free to get back to us should you have any kind of feedbacks to share with us. We'll just be happy to hear them out. All right, so Biodevas on stage. Most of you already know who Biodevas is, okay? You already understand that for everything that we do in Biodevas, we will challenge the status quo of traditional farming and healing, that we know that it's possible actually to produce differently. And most of you have already seen it. Because, I mean, thanks to all the different kinds of experimentations you've been carrying out, you've checked the efficiency of our technology in the field, you've found out what kind of performance you can achieve with it, you've tested, you've seen it, you have touched it, I would say. So this is part of what you can see in front of the curtain. This is part of what you can see from Biodevas on stage. And I wanted to actually give you a little bit more, to discuss with you about two more points that I think are really important for you to have the complete picture of Biodevas on stage. This is first some kind of Biodevas ID card that is really important to keep in mind to fully understand why Biodevas is so fully different than what you can see on the market. And the second thing I wanted to talk with you about today, it's about our concept, the anabiosis, which is, I agree, a pretty strange word, but what does it mean exactly? And what does it do? And that is what we are going to check today. All right, so about Biodevas ID card. All right, again, that's the ID card about who Biodevas is. First, you've got, there are 7 points to have this bigger image in your mind. Biodevas, what it is. First, it's 100% natural phytogenic products promoting anabiosis. What does it mean? It means that it's only plant-based. And these plant extracts that we make, they are we extract them, we make them ourselves. And all the formulation, all the manufacturing, everything is made in Biodevas Lab by Biodevas. So we control all the manufacturing process. We are fully independent. All right, now about the mode of action of our products. Well, what we do is that we work at the cellular level through the endogenic regulation of the biochemical functions. Again, some big words, but I will come back to it later. What you need to remember is that our mode of action is fully indirect. And what does it mean? It means that it's not biocide. So you won't have bioresistance on the long run. And because it's not biocide, then it's going to be fully compatible with other kinds of ingredients like probiotics or yeast or organic acid, for example. Again, that's not something that you can usually always find in the field. All right, about the 5th point, about the global quality of our products. Well, we are GMP+, which is a must in animal nutrition, so no big news around it. We also, most of our products are usable in organic production, although our main market, it's not the organic production, it's the conventional farming. But the standard that we are really proud of and that guarantees how safe our products are, whether for, let's say, the user, the animal, the final consumer or the environment, it's the ISO 22000 standard. It just shows that if, for example, you increase the dosage, well, no life is going to be in danger. You're going to have an economic loss, that's for sure, but no one is going to be endangered after it. The last but not least point, it's about the way we create our products. Jean-François just before said that first we focus on the animal and on the farm. First, when we formulate our products, we test our products, we want to make sure that these products actually work in real life, that they bring some kind of benefit to the farmer. Then, and only then, once we have this assurance that it works in real life, we will try to carry out some kind of fundamental research to demonstrate scientifically their mode of action. So we'll carry out, like, for example, in vitro, ex vivo tests. And although I would say these products are plant-based, and again, that's not something which is really usual in this kind of field. So, and finally, the last point, it's about the adaptability of our products to any kind of final use in animal nutrition. If the products need to be concentrated, like in a premix form, or just need to use it as an ingredient, well, it's doable, it's possible. If you need the product to be sprayed on minerals, fine, that's doable as well. If you need the product in a less concentrated form so that it can be used by the farmer directly, and he can use it in a top feeding or put it directly in the drinking water, that's also possible. So these products are fully adaptable to any kind of distribution network that is more suitable to what you want to do out of it. And these 7 points are really important to keep in mind when you want to compare this kind of technology with other ones on the market. These are the points that make our technology unique. All right? Okay, so this was about Biodevas ID card. Now, let's talk a little bit more about our concept. But first, let's start with our goal. We've got one goal in Biodevas. It's to maintain the animal in a healthy state. But why? Why is it so important? Because according to us, that is the only way working on the long run to maximize the animal development, the animal growth, by making the most of its potential. Let me give you an example to help you picture the global idea. We have represented here on the left an animal cell with all of its internal physiological processes which are working well. These are the different wheels you can see on the screen. You can see them turning. That's when everything is going well, when the cell is in a good environment. But hey, that's not what happens in real life all the time. The environment around it is not always very good. So once it's facing some kind of abiotic stress, such as excesses of temperature, humidity, or biotic stresses, such as bacteria or pathogens, the cell can be damaged or even destroyed. And this is what you can see here on the right with the dotted line on the graph. Okay, so these stresses will stop the internal mechanism, the endogenous mechanism inside the cell, and the cell will just stop working. The wheels will stop turning. This is called abiosis. And when the cell stops working, there are two kinds of consequences. First, at the cellular level, these will provoke some kind of balance disruption and oxidative stress that will prevent the cell from producing what it was actually created for example, muscle. At the animal level, what does it mean? What is the direct consequence? Well, the animal will be weakened. And so if it's weakened, then the production drops. And then pathologies can appear as well. So the animal will have no other choice but to use its energy for its own survival and not for producing. So that's why our objective is to maintain the animal in a good health. We want to prevent the animal from getting sick so that it can keep producing what it's supposed to be producing. Because we know that it gets sick, it cannot produce anymore. And that is what you can see on the blue line here, again, on the graph. We want to maintain the animal in a subclinical stage and help him go back to a healthy stage. That's where anabiosis happens. That is our concept on which all our technology is actually based. All right, so we've got our concept, but how does it work? Okay, how do we promote this anabiosis? How do we make this concept happen? Well, through the endogenous regulation of the biochemical functions or the reactions inside the cell. Oh, again, I agree, more big words, but don't worry, I explain it. Okay, remember here that we're working at the cellular level. That's the cell you can see on the right. Okay, we've got the cell here. We want to keep it working from, even if it's facing the different kinds of stresses, even if it's not in a good environment. We want the internal wheels to keep turning. But how do we do that? Well, if you zoom on these internal wheels, there are different kinds of internal mechanisms that actually we can have an action on, which are the homeostasis and the production metabolism inside the cell. Now, picture the cell as some kind of boat. If the boat is balanced, it is floating, so it remains safe and available to be used. But if the boat is too heavy on one side, it will tip over and start drowning. So if the internal environment inside the cell is fully balanced, the cell will remain alive and ready to operate, ready to be fully efficient. Now, not only do we want the cell to float, not only do we want the cell to remain alive, we also want the cell to produce what it was created for. So if we come back to the image of the boat, we want to make sure that the engine inside works as well as the boat is balanced, so that the boat or the cell can be fully operational and produce what we need it to produce. So if the cells are fully efficient on one side, and the engine in it keeps working while facing different kinds of stresses, we maintain the cellular homeostasis. That is to say, we promote anabiosis, which is our concept. This is why, according to us, anabiosis is the key to promote good health, whether for animals, for plants, or for humans. We believe that if we promote anabiosis in the body, then the inner cells in it will likely to be strengthened, thus remain healthy for the inner wheels to keep turning and produce what we want them to produce. And finally, we get the zootechnical performances we are looking for at the animal level. All right, so that was how our concept worked. Now, with what do we make it happen, right? Well, with 100% natural phytogenic complexes that we make ourselves. In other words, whose entire manufacturing process we control. For example, we work with more than 130 different plants, all right? And we extract actually all the biologically interesting molecules inside these plants. And then we will combine like a few plant extracts together to obtain one phytogenic nucleus, all right? On the table, on the slide, it's the three plant extracts that are represented is just an example. It can just be much more than three plant extracts that we use to make one phytogenic nucleus. Then once we have this phytogenic nucleus, well, we are going to create other ones, and then we will associate them together to obtain a synergistic effect and to get more, for the product to be more efficient in the end. And then this finished product will be available in the liquid form or in the solid form. Again, you can see on the screen that you've got only 3 different kinds of phytogenic nuclei, but in one finished product, you can have much more. It's just to help you picture how it is that we work in Biodevas. All right, so you know now that we work with plant extracts, fine. But how do we promote this anabiosis? Well, we've got a toolbox to manage this anabiosis concept. We've got 6 big tools at our disposal, and each tool corresponds to one or several phytogenic complexes or nucleus. So we know, for example, how to stimulate antioxidant enzymes, but also the production itself of these antioxidant enzymes with the oxidative stress management tool. All right. Or we know how to stimulate a specific or an innate immune system with the immune system tool. And you need to know that 95% of our products have at least the oxidative stress and the immune system tools included in them. And depending on the health issue that we want to deal with, we've got the knowledge to combine them with a third tool to obtain a synergy of action. So we can add, for example, the metabolism tool if you want to stimulate a kidney or digestive metabolism. We can add the inflammation tool if you want to modulate the secretion of pro-inflammatory proteins, or the virulence tool if you want to make a bacteria less pathogenic by strengthening the epithelium integrity, or the neurotransmitter one to act on neurotransmitter if you want to calm down a poultry during lockdown because of the avian flu, for example. All right. So I hope that now you know more about who Biodevas is, about our technology, what our technology is actually on stage. And you may now wonder what happens backstage, what is behind these phytogenic nuclei, how they work, and what are the effects on maybe organs, cells, or genetic material. But maybe, Jean-François, you do.
We have already one question for you.
Okay, all right.
Before moving to Biodevas backstage, one question which is on the natural, let's say, component ingredients. Okay. Question is, do you mean that among natural products, there are products which are not natural? Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, if they are, well, if they are products which are, presented as natural, but which are not really natural in the end, well, yes, that's definitely the case, right? These kind of products are often very synthetic or nature identical products, I would say. That means that the molecules inside them have never ever seen a plant before. So what is important to get when you compare natural products with chemical products is that the mode of action is fully different. The synthetic products are more biocide-like, and they can develop, therefore, some kind of habituation or resistance on the long run. And because they are really concentrated, they can often cause some kind of palatability problem, and they are, and that's also because they are limited to 1, 2, or 3 different kind of chemical molecules. Just to help you picture the difference, and if you want to compare it with our products, we combine several plant extracts together, and in one single plant extracts, we use all the molecules which are naturally present inside the plant. And because we preserve them in their original environment, well, these molecules, these natural molecules, will be much easier for the body to assimilate them. So, I mean, if I had to conclude, there are natural products and there are chemical products which are promoted as natural, but we are definitely not talking about the same thing. Whether about their the origin of the molecules themselves, or the effects behind them. Okay, that's definitely not the same.
Okay, so your recommendation is to use really natural products. Coming from plants, coming from the crops, not chemical products. Okay, very good. Now we can go to Biodevas backstage.
Just one more thing, maybe. Everyone, if you have any kind of more questions, feel free to push them, to write them down on the chat, and yes. Then we will read them and answer them step by step. Okay, parts after parts, but there will also be a time at the end of the WEBINEWS to answer all the different kinds of questions you've asked throughout the presentation. All right.
Let's go to the kitchen. VTA, are you ready to cook?
Yes. So thank you, Estelle, for all the complete explanation of our concepts. So the idea here is just to explain to you why and how our phytogenic nuclei are going to work inside the body. That's why we were thinking that bringing you backstage of the mode of action of our products were very interesting this morning or this afternoon. Actually, many of you have already seen this kind of a trial we made like 5 or 4 years ago with the National Vet School in France, showing you that with our product using a phytogenic complex of metabolism and the hepatic metabolism, we could have an impact on the organ architecture. Because you can see here, for example, as I already explained to you when I had the occasion to meet you, we can see here the slice, the histological slice of a liver before using the phytogenic complex metabolism, hepatic metabolism, with a lot of fatty inclusion inside. And here is the liver after using the product. So we already knew that our product could preserve the organ architecture. But recently, we had a new result on the gut, because we ran a trial on an experimental facility in Brazil, in Samite, using our product Inidia, which had the phytogenic complex, including the gut metabolism. And then we make a slice of gut of the mucosa, and we measure the height of the bilis and the depth of the creeps. And then we measure the ratio, and we can prove that we could increase the ratio height of bilis on the depth creep, which means that we could preserve, and even more preserve, we could enhance, promote the organ architecture for it to be more efficient. So this is a kind, we could have the opportunities to show you all the results on this trial, maybe on the next WEBINEWS. So we had a question, if our product could have an effect on the organ architecture, maybe the product could have an impact directly on the cells, on what the cells can produce. And actually, this is what we found out really recently. It was last year when we test through an in vitro trial. We test a product including the phytogenic complex for the virulence factors, and we could actually see that this product was able to increase the production of protein on the membrane of the cells, the protein like the JAM1, for example, or the Claudin1. And we know that actually the Claudin and the JAMs are the main protein involved into the tight junction. So you remember the tight junction are the protein complexes that that's involved in the integrity of an epithelium or an endothelium. Okay, so we can see that our product could increase the tight junction to preserve the integrity of the epithelium. We also find out that the product with the virulence factor phytogenic complex was able to increase the angiogenesis. That means the product could accelerate the reconstructions of the blood vessel. And that's really interesting when the gut is injured, for example, or something like that. We also saw that the product was able to increase the vascular proliferation. So it's very interesting when you want a broiler to grow up very quickly. So to build muscles and to build vascular vessels also. And what we found out, and we really didn't expect that we saw that this product with the virulence factor was able to protect, to activate the complement system to limit the virulence of to protect the cells, actually. So that was really something that we didn't expect, actually. And so the thing is, if the product can modulate the proteins on the membrane cells, and we found out it could also interfere with the complement system, we thought, okay, so maybe we have a phytogenics complex which is able to have an impact on the immune system. And so we ran more trials, and then through another in vitro trial, we test the phytogenic complex for the immunity. Actually, 2 years ago, we ran a field trial on broilers to prove that our product could increase the production of antibody after a vaccination challenge. So here you can see the blue line is the titer, the level of antibody against the Gumboro disease after the vaccination. And you can see that with the products made with the immune phytogenic complex, we could double the level of antibody. And then, so that means we could stimulate the adaptive immune system. And then we go further with an in vitro trial to try to explain, to understand how our product can stimulate the innate immune system. Actually, and then we find out that with our product, we could stimulate the production of protein, of the membrane protein of ECAM1, for example. The ECAM1 are the protein involved into the adhesion of the leukocyte to the endothelium for them to go from the vessel to the extravascular system to go to fight against the pathogens, for example. We also find out the product with the phytogenic complex immunity was able to increase the production of protein HLA, which are involved in the antigenic presentation to lymphocytes. So that means we are really early on the immune system response. So, and our product is able to stimulate the innate system, the innate system response. And then we found out also that our product was able to modulate, maybe positively, maybe negatively, the response, but it will depend on other co-stimulation factors which are not known here. So we just know that our product can modulate the immune system response, and that was very interesting to understand how. So the question is, when a product can stimulate the immune system response, maybe it can have an impact on the inflammation, because the inflammation is caused by the immune system response. So that's why we tried to find out. So we ran another trial, again, an in vitro trial, with a complex, with the phytogenic complex for inflammation. And we found out that on the normal condition here, our product was able to stimulate the production of interleukin-8, which is the most early cytokine secreted by the cells, because it's going to recruit the neutrophil, and it's going to recruit all the cells involved in the immune system response. And the IL-8 is going also to create a small inflammation which is needed for the immune system response, actually. We also found out that the product could stimulate the production of other kind of cytokines in normal condition, which are this kind of cytokines here are involved of the recruitment of all the white blood cells. So that means our product was really able to recruit the innate immune system to have a quicker response when the organism can find a pathogen. We also tried the product in inflammatory condition here in red. So that means the cells that we use, we put some inflammatory cytokines in the middle to have them inflamed, and then we had the product. And now we see that we have some opposite response here. For example, you have we have a lot of production of IL-8, but here in the inflammatory condition, you can see there is no production of IL-8. So that means regarding the condition of the cells, the products are going to have a different mode of action on the cells. So that means that our products are what we call adaptive. That because the response of the cells is not going to be the same depending the condition. Okay, and what we found out in the inflammatory condition, we found out that our products were able to reduce the production of a lot of cytokines, and these kind of cytokines are involved into inflammation, actually. So that means that when the inflammation is needed here in the normal condition, our product is able to generate inflammation to help the immune system to respond. But in inflammatory condition, our product is going to calm down the immune system response to avoid, to manage actually the inflammation. And this is really important it was really important for us to discover that, because it could explain a lot of things. And that's why now we can confirm that our products are adaptogenic. That means, what do we mean by adaptogenic? That means we are not going to interfere with any endogenous physiology, but we are going to promote it. We are going to enhance the response of the cells to maintain the homeostasis, to maintain the inner will to move properly, to maintain the homeostasis. So,
a quick question for you, if I may, from the chat. So we got a question on this adaptogenic way of action, but I think you defined it right now. Another question is, so what you mean is that whatever the status of the cell will be, whatever of the status of the animal will be, our product will have an added value. And the cell, the animal, basically will drive and decide, into bracket, let's say, to use our products, whatever the status.
Yes, that means actually whatever the status of the cells, our product is going to enhance the response of the cells. So that means if we need some inflammation, because to promote the immune system, our product is going to help the inflammation to be settled. If there is too much inflammation, our product is going to calm down. And so that's really the way it's going to work is going to adapt the response of the cells of what the cells need, actually.
Okay.
It's not going to be like an anti-inflammatory, for example. An anti-inflammatory is just going to cut the inflammation. Our product is going to produce inflammation if needed, or it's going to slow down inflammation if needed, actually.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. So now we know that we can have an effect on the organs. We know that we have an impact on the cells, on the immune system. And then if our product can modulate such proteins, so maybe we thought it was interesting to check what kind of impact our products could have on the gene expressions. And we ran last year, a really big trials, including transcriptomic analysis on broilers hepatocytes. We made a trial with our product, including the hepatic metabolism here. And we compared the results with clean water, for example, and with another product with choline and sorbitol. And we found out that our products was able to express more than 1,500 genes, different in a different way compared to the choline. So that means that our approach, our mode of action is they are really deep inside the cells. They are like epigenetic mode of action, because we are able to stimulate the gene expression, actually. And this results, well, on the cake pathway method to analyze the transcriptomic analysis, we could find out that our product, including the hepatic metabolism phytogenic complex, was able to express the genes involved into the interaction between the cells and the extracellular matrix. So that means with our product, the liver were stronger and they had more resilience. So that means the liver were capable to adapt itself to its environment. And once again, this is the adaptogenic effect of our product. We also saw that our product was able to activate genes involved into the lipidic metabolism through the peroxisome proliferator activated receptor pathway. Well, it's kind of complicated to say. So this is the genes involved into the production of energy through lipids, actually. When we look at the gene oncology pathway method, we could see that our product was able to stimulate the gene expression involved in the energy production with the amino and nucleotide sugar metabolism. The same for the protein metabolism, and also for the xenobiotic metabolism, because we could express genes involved in response to organic substances and chemicals. So it's needed for detoxification. So this is a really big trial we had to explain how our product can deeply work into the cells. And then we thought, okay, it's very interesting to see that we have such an impact on the hepatic cells, but our core competency is the oxidative stress management. So when we talk about oxidative stress management, you can see here on the triangle the pyramid of the efficiency of the different antioxidants. You can see here on the basis you have the selenium, the zinc. We are the less efficient antioxidant. You have here the vitamin C and the vitamin E, which are the most common used antioxidant. We know now that one molecule of vitamin E can neutralize one free radical. And then on the top, you have the superoxide dismutase, and we know that one molecule of SOD can neutralize 1 million free radicals. So it's not the same kind of efficiency. So when we talk about oxidative stress management, everything is going to think about giving secondary antioxidant, giving vitamin C, vitamin E into the feed. This is not what we do. We are not going to bring any antioxidant, any secondary antioxidant. This is not our concept. There is a concept which is to bring superoxide dismutase directly into the feed. This is not what we do. And then we found out that our approach of oxidative stress management is to stimulate the genes involved into the production of enzymes involved into the oxidative stress management. So that means that with our products, the oxidative stress phytogenic complex here, we can stimulate the production of enzymes like superoxide dismutase, catalysis, glutathione peroxidase. And this is what we call the NRF2 pathway activation that we could confirm with an in vitro trial. This is the sum up, actually, the resume of the trial. And you can see that with our GSO core, so GSO core is oxidative stress management in French. You can see that with our product, we could activate the NRF2 pathway up to 30, even 40-fold increase of gene expression compared to vitamin E, which is not capable of doing such thing. So that was today what we wanted to show you backstage of how our product can work on the oxidative stress management, metabolism, inflammation, virulence factor, immune system, and neurotransmitter. So this is what I wanted to show you this morning. And if you have any question, feel free to ask.